I've been a Batman fan my whole life. The games, the animated series, the films, the Lego sets, all of it. So whenever something new gets announced, I pay attention straight away. When this game was first revealed, I didn't really feel the excitement I expected to. It looked interesting, but something about the way it played on screen didn't fully land for me. Over time, that uncertainty stuck around, mainly because of two things: movement and combat. A lot of that comes from how I experienced Batman games before. I've played the Arkham series multiple times, and Arkham Knight in particular basically set my standard for what Batman should feel like. The speed, the fluidity, the gliding, even the Batmobile traversal. It all feels right in a way that most games don't match. After that game, I became pretty sensitive to anything that feels slower or less responsive. That's also why games like Gotham Knights didn't really work for me. The combat was fine, but the movement just felt off. Everything felt slow, heavy, and lacking that sense of momentum. There wasn't really any illusion of speed either, which made traversal feel dull. After Arkham Knight and the Spider-Man PlayStation games, that kind of pacing just doesn't land for me anymore. So when I saw early gameplay of LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, especially the gliding, I assumed that it would fall into the same category: slower movement, simplified combat, and a game that might not quite capture the feeling I wanted from a Batman experience. But as the game got closer to release, that perspective started to shift. I started watching people I trust on YouTube talk about it and play it. YouTubers whose opinions I value were genuinely excited, and that slowly changed how I felt. I went from being unsure to actually being hyped again. Not because my concerns disappeared, but because I still wanted it to succeed. I care about Batman, and I care about LEGO Batman, and I knew deep down I was going to enjoy it either way. I just expected to be a bit disappointed in areas such as movement and combat, and after playing it, that didn't really happen. The biggest relief was in the movement. The gliding is not slow the way I feared. You actually get a proper sense of speed when moving through Gotham. The traversal feels smooth and enjoyable. It never feels like you're dragging yourself around the map. The Batmobile also feels good to drive. It fits into the flow of the world really well. It's not Arkham Knight level precision, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to feel fun, and it does. Combat was the same story. I expected it to be overly simple and maybe get boring quickly, and it sort of does, but it scales better than I thought. It starts off easy, but on Dark Knight difficulty, there's enough pressure in encounters to keep you engaged. You get surrounded, you still have to manage space, and you can't just switch your brain off and mash buttons the whole time. That being said, it is still a LEGO game, so it stays accessible, but it doesn't feel mindless. One thing I really ended up appreciating is a smaller playable roster. Compared to older LEGO games with huge lists of characters you'd barely touch, this game focuses on a tight group: Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Jim Gordon, Catwoman, and Talia al Ghul. That's it, and honestly it works way better than I expected. Every character actually has a purpose. They're more specialized, more focused, and feel meaningfully different from each other instead of just being reskins. The fan service side of the game is also insane in a good way. The Batsuit collection in particular is ridiculous. There's over 100 suits. Most of them, in my opinion, are just sort of throwaway suits, but some real standouts are mixed in. I hate how the Arkham Knight suit is paid DLC, but I'm still glad that it shows up, and I hope the Arkham suits show up in real sets soon. The Batcave also deserves a mention, because it's bigger than I expected from the start. I thought that it would just start off as a small hub or a menu area with some decoration. Instead, it starts off massive but still allows you to expand as you progress, and there's a real sense of engagement and reward tied to it. It feels like a proper space you're building into over time rather than just a backdrop. Gotham is massive, it's dense, and it looks great. There are collectibles everywhere, which for a game like this is exactly what you want. It gives you reasons to explore and rewards you for actually knowing the source material. But the thing that kept surprising me was the writing. You could tell that the people that made this actually care about Batman. There are references scattered throughout that a lot of players will walk straight past, but if you know the films, the animated series, the game, you're going to notice them and appreciate them.
Nice card. Is that eggshell?
Bruce Wayne?
That's
You are not gonna believe
the
this.
tasteful thickness of it. It even has a
Hey,
watermark.
you seen a guy about my height dressed as a bat?
Hang on, Janice.
The story covers Bruce's entire life, from his childhood all the way through to him as an older established figure with the whole family around him. And across that, they've taken iconic moments and dialogues from decades of Batman history, different films, different comic runs, different animated versions, and blended them into something that actually holds together. It really shouldn't work as well as it does. The villains especially are set up in ways that pull from multiple versions of the same characters, and rather than feeling inconsistent, it makes them feel richer than any single adaptation has managed.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Give me your hand.
And the thing I wasn't expecting is that it genuinely works for both kids and adults at the same time. The surface level is fun and accessible enough for anyone to enjoy, but the writing underneath has enough weight and understanding of the characters that if you grew up with Batman, you're going to get something real out of it too. It's not just talking down to you. I'm about 20 hours in and about 40% through. The levels are fun, the story keeps delivering, and going through Batman's story in this way is something I didn't know I wanted until I was already deep into it. I also played through most of this game in co-op. It feels like a game designed for that kind of experience. It's simple enough that someone who isn't really into Batman can still enjoy it just by playing along, but still engaging enough that you don't feel like you're just doing nothing. The lack of online co-op doesn't really affect me personally because I don't have any friends that will play with me anyway, so local co-op is good enough for my situation. The split screen is there, and the only downside is that it kinda tanks your performance. Speaking of performance, I played on PC and it was mostly solid. That's probably because I'm running a 5070 Ti and a 9800 X3D. For the most part it holds up, but Unreal Engine still shows cracks in dense areas, and driving through Gotham, and especially split screen, causes drops in the 1% lows. Even when the overall frame rate looks fine, the 1% lows does make the game feel a bit choppy. I was playing with DLSS quality and frame generation to smooth things out, but you can still feel the drops in heavier scenes. It's playable and enjoyable, but it's definitely not perfectly optimized yet. I came into this with excitement, but genuine worry, and the warrior was starting to win. I thought the movement would be a problem, and I thought the combat would be too simple to care about, and this would just be a game for kids, and none of that ended up being true. The combat starts simple, but gives you more as you go, and stays enjoyable throughout. The story is written in a way that respects both kids playing it and adults who grew up with the character. It takes the source material seriously, even when it's being funny. The Batcave is a proper hub with real depth to it. The Batsuit collection alone is going to keep Batman fans busy. And the character roster, even though it's smaller than other LEGO games, is better for it. Everyone has a purpose, everyone feels different. This is not trying to be Arkham, it's doing something completely different. A celebration of everything Batman across every era, every version, every medium, and somehow the LEGO presentation makes it feel more complete, not less. It's the ultimate Batman game in a way I didn't expect, and if you're a Batman fan that was uncertain as I was, just play it. Stick through the linear intro, get into Gotham, and give it a proper chance. It doesn't take long to click. Thank you.
Falcone gang crime spree in Gotham.
Let's avoid these crowds and cut down Crime Alley.
Is that a good idea, Thomas? I think it's called Crime Alley for a reason.
Okay, lady, hand over the purse and the pearls.
Dad, he's got a...
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Come on, Jack. Let's go before we're recognized.
Hi, Mr. Falcone.
Nice to see you, Mr. Falcone.